And you're also a Russian expert. I remember visiting you on your first posting in Moscow. And of course, that's decades back.
Yeah.
And you have interacted with President Putin a number of times over 2 decades. How has he evolved? And what is his endgame when it comes to Ukraine, as well as his perception of this constant battle with the West, ideological battle?
Yes. So, Putin has been around for the last quarter century, right? He took over power in Russia at a time when the US unipolar moment was on. And he took over the reins of power from a very, tough decade where the Soviet Union had collapsed. Yeltsin was in charge as president, and he could not manage the Russia of those times. So Putin consolidated power. And I think the way Putin sees the world is that he sees this particular conflict as existential. It is central to Russia's existence because he sees the eastward creep of NATO and the possibility of NATO weaponry coming to his doorstep in Ukraine as something that is an existential challenge. So he is challenged in an existential way, and he is a very smart, geopolitical sort of analyst and a smart military strategist. So he is fighting the war to save his country, in his view, and his own personal existence. And there is also a case, and he understands the Western challenge. So in a very broad view, you could look at this as a revival of a Cold War, where the United States and the larger West is challenging Russia, and Russia is trying to survive in this world. So that is the way I think Putin would frames this war in his own mind as something that is very central.
So Ajay, you've been India's ambassador to Poland. So in some ways, if you look at the history of Poland in the last 25 years, Poland joining the Western Bloc, joining NATO, then the EU, has that also caused a certain amount of insecurity in the Russians?
Well, I would say that the Russians accepted, when all that was happening, remember, Russia was weak. Right. Russia was down. The Soviet Union had collapsed. So 99, when the NATO expansion takes place, Russia is down. It cannot challenge it. By 2004, when Poland joins EU, Russia was still down. And the US unipolar moment was continuing from 1990 to, I would date it as 2008. Then you would recall there were color revolutions in that space. Georgia, Ukraine, Kyrgyzstan. And 2008, Russia responded in Georgia by military action. So I think that's the time the world started turning multipolar. So the acceptance of Poland into NATO is something Russia lives with, accepts. Even the Baltics it accepts. But for Russia, I think the red line is Georgia, Ukraine, because that is close to home. It doesn't want weaponry of NATO threatening Moscow and being very close to its borders. So I think Poland has a bit of a hostile relationship. Poland treats Russia as a former colonizer, and therefore they worry about Russia. But I think the fears sometimes expressed in Western media about Russia wanting to resurrect the Soviet Empire, resurrect
that you feel is exaggerated.
Warsaw Pact is certainly exaggerated. Russia is protecting its immediate flanks. It doesn't have ambitions, I think, of reviving the Soviet Union.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this clip. As you know, we are taking a deep dive into some complex issues and decoding them for you. So don't forget to check out more content on our channel. And also, we'd love to hear back from you with your comments and your suggestions. So let's explore together.